Hi all, welcome to Quest Global Ignite event. This will be the first of many episodes on career where we connect industry veterans to you. Uh, Today we have three fine panelists available with us who are expert in the field of aerospace engineering. We are having a lot of questions that has been collected during the poll and we will be asking them to know the answers for you. So first of all, I would love to introduce them. Uh, we have Satya Iyengar in the panel, who is head of engineering in aerostructures. He's having 3 decades of experience. He's joining from Bangalore. We have Murali Mohan B, vertical solutions partner. He has 2 decades of experience in aero engine. And we have Alex Christy along with me from Connecticut, and she's a senior integration partner for A&D, and she will be talking on the terms in terms of viewers and various aspects she is going to cover in. So we'll quickly jump into the questions that what we have got. So the first question that has been asked is, what are the challenges that has been faced in aerospace and defense industry today, and what is Quest Global doing to address those challenges? So, Alex, would you like to take it up?
Yes, thank you. Welcome, everyone. And let's kick off our discussion with the question about aerospace and defense industry today and looking forward. One of the things that aerospace nerds, like all of us on this call, love about aerospace is it's all about going fast in a certain point of view. We're talking about rockets, jet planes, spaceships, satellite communications, everything like that that's really advanced and it's fast and it's exciting, right? But one of the things that's really interesting about aerospace is there's actually a long development cycle in aerospace because the products and everything that goes into it has to be so safe, has to be so advanced in the engineering and connected. So actually, aerospace has got a very long development cycle as well as it's being about going fast and cutting edge, which makes it a little bit different from many other industries. So that's one of the things that's really exciting about aerospace is that it gives such a good stability while also being cutting edge. So looking into the future, some of the things that folks in aerospace are looking at in terms of real priorities for how engineering is going to be done over the next, several decades is one big thing is actually cybersecurity. Today we're in the age of the Internet of Things. Everything is a smart device, everything is connected, and we're only going more and more that direction with AI, with smart monitoring systems, and it just your imagination can run wild. And in aerospace, that's even more true that we need to really make sure that everything is very secure so that everything is 100% reliable all the time. We don't need to have any Terminator nightmares on our hands. Okay, so cybersecurity is a really big aspect of what we in aerospace are making sure is top notch. Another aspect, which is very different, is actually sustainable aviation. Traditionally, when you think about aviation and aerospace and defense, you don't think of sustainability, emissions. Those never used to be the top priority. It was always about performance, the function, and being the most advanced technology on the planet. Well, now it's a much more balanced way that we're doing all engineering in aviation. So being sustainable for the future is really important, especially as we start to look outward at outer space and interplanetary travel and things of that nature. And the last piece I'd like to mention is in aerospace and defense, we are always thinking about aerospace dominance. So of course that is from a defense standpoint, thinking about how the politics of the world is constantly changing. And in every country that's developing defense defense technology, it's always about being the best, right? But also, if you think about outwards as a human race and we're thinking about exploring the universe, that's our last frontier, right? So if you're a Star Trek nerd and you're thinking, wow, I'd love to be someone who helps develop all of the technology we use to look outward outside of the Earth, being the dominant in aerospace, that's how we get there. So it's really very exciting. Satya, is there something you'd like to add to that?
Sure. Thank you, Alex, and once again, welcome everybody to this first of the kind sessions. And Alex, as you rightly talked about the future trends of the industry, I'll try to give a flavor or put more shade and color into the current focus of the original equipment manufacturers, the tier ones, and what they are looking at. Today, if you look at it, they're working on, as we speak, five top challenges in addition to what you just said. That is, number one, the development cycle that you mentioned, they want it much quicker, meaning faster time to market. So, which means that, as you said, that the development cycle in the aerospace is about close to 10 plus 12 years to before they bring a new product on. They want to see how they can shrink time on that. And the second thing is the higher build rate, because whatever we are manufacturing, we need to get it out quicker, because the waiting time for a new product in this industry, it cannot be years. They want it much sooner than that. So they are looking at how do we increase the higher build rate. Then the third is the reduction in recurring cost, because as we speak today, every customer out there wants something, or the OEMs want to do is they want to reduce their recurring cost. And the fourth one being the cost of change has to come down, because there must be some amount of customization that has to be built in to your product, and the cost of change for that has to come down. The next one is how much can they learn from other industries? In some cases, the aerospace industry leads the way. In some cases, they want to know what has been done so that they can do it better in this industry. And what the most important thing in the last one is always changing here is the supply chain disruptions. And today, as we speak, the supply chain disruptions, as it has affected every other industry, it has affected the aerospace industry as well. So these are some of the challenges today at the OEM level. Regardless of where they are facing these challenges, and it's exciting times for us.
Thank you, Satya. Thank you for outlining it in a very crisp way. Murali, since we got what is going to happen or what is the need of the industry, I'd like to ask you that what are the core competency that are needed for an aerospace engineer? What are the top in-demand skills today that the engineer has to develop so that he can secure a job in aerospace?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you and welcome everyone. As Satya and Alex was introducing what is happening in the industry, what is driving the growth. Obviously the demand also is corresponding to those requirements. So, for example, the build rate of these aircraft and engines are increasing. There are so many new programs. The fleet is growing. Obviously, a growing fleet requires a lot of maintenance, overhaul, repairs. And also, there are a lot of product upgrades, modifications happening that also require a lot of engineering to be done on those type of topics. So there are multiple things happening in the industry, exciting times, as Satya and Alex was mentioning about. Competency is all about having skill and the right abilities and behaviors, so that we can get things done at the highest quality of the product. So if you look at the demand today, OEMs are busy developing the products, MROs are maintaining the products, and airlines are operating them. So our defense forces are operating them. In all the three different areas, they need people, they need help in the engineering. For example, structures, designing structures for the aircraft. It could be, looking at composites or metallic structures, designing the products based on the structures, and analyzing the stresses using FEA analysis, putting that together in product definition, helping them manufacture. A lot of things require these type of skills. And similarly for engines, component design is one of the most sought skill. And obviously, designing components requires a lot of material knowledge, GD&Ts, looking at functionality, fit, form, and also looking at the FEA analysis. So all these type of things are in demand today. From the systems engineering point of view, because all these things are going to be put together at the end of the day to make it a functional product. Systems engineering is one of the emerging business from tier 1s and tier 2s. This requires the latest technologies like the model-based system engineering, BScs, system integration testing, software development. There are such things happening in the market today. So in addition to all these things, there are a lot of skills required for maintaining the products, aircrafts, engines. That includes, the typical aftermarket services, repair engineering. It could be, looking at the service support, customer services. Such things are quite in demand today. So also looking at the coming out of pandemic, there's a lot of requirement on the supply chain management, changing from one supplier to the other supplier, having that niche skills to manage different suppliers across the globe, getting things right. So these are some of the requirements currently emerging in the market today. So
Thanks, Murli. Yeah, well summarized. I think we are having a huge demand rising up globally in defense as well as the commercial operations of the aviation. I do agree that Satya, he has touched upon the competency. I think I would love to ask you the question again. What are the opportunities that we have in Quest Global where this competency can be used in?
Good question. See, when you look at competency, now competency is a very broad term, and it includes behaviors to do a given job. Uh, it needs the abilities to do a given job. It needs the skills and the knowledge. So these four, which is behaviors, abilities, skills, and knowledge to do a job, is what pretty much is encompassed in your competency. Now, having said that, at Quest Global, we have partnered with leading aerospace companies in doing structures, systems, engines, and also in the space of MRO as well. And these partnerships are long-standing relationships that we have built over time. And to give you a flavor of the skills that we need are probably what Murali touched upon in structural engineering, manufacturing engineering, verification, qualification and testing, and production support. Today we have about 2,700 aerospace engineers across the globe for working for various customers at Quest Global sites. Now I'm just going to get into some very specific skill sets for what a mechanical engineer are we looking at. For example, if you are a mechanical engineer coming out of college, now definitely a good understanding of GD&T is already given to you in your curriculum, so you need to be good at that. Engineering mechanics, strength of materials, Murali talked about it, kinematics, FEA, CFD, these are some of the skill sets. Now, it's just not limited to the skill sets. There are a lot of behaviors associated with that. Alexa, would you like to talk about some of those, please?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for covering the foundation about competencies. And this is something, folks, if you're early in your career or maybe still a student, this is really a really good concept for you to be familiar with, is that competency has all those four areas that are part of it. And in schooling, your first few years of your career, usually you focus a lot on learning specific skills, maybe some knowledge and abilities. But the behaviors and some of the other aspects are not necessarily focused on until later, usually. So you really have an opportunity now, knowing this, to work on that early on so that your career is really accelerated and that you can move through and get to where you want to be very quickly. So in aerospace, aerospace is a little bit different than some other industries, like we've talked about so far. And some of the things that really would make you very well aligned for aerospace is if you have a very strong focus and way of working on with quality. So in aerospace, there's such a high bar for what meets the minimum criteria. The expectations are very high because the impact of any mistakes or anything going wrong is also so high. When lives are on the line, there's no room for error. And so because of that, aerospace has a very high focus on quality and safety. So everything that is done throughout the product development lifecycle, whether that's the core engineering design and structures, whether that's the procurement services, whether it's repair work, really everything that goes into making aerospace industry function. Everyone who works in it really has a mindset for the details, being thorough, and making sure that things do meet the expected standards and that we double check all of our work. So that's something just to keep in mind. If that really resonates with you and that feels natural, that's great, a very well alignment for aerospace.
Perfect.
Another thing to think about when you're looking at aerospace as your career potential is, do you have a passion for it? Aerospace
Right.
and defense work is detailed. It's technically challenging. It's a hard industry to work in, but it's very rewarding. So if you have a passion for it, if you love the outcome of the types of things that we do in aerospace and defense, and you're constantly thinking about, the future of aviation and space and where it's going to go in your lifetime, then this is the place for you. So think about your own passion and if this aligns here. The last thing I'd like to mention sort of on this topic is about personal integrity and how you bring that into the workplace. This is really true in any career, but in aerospace, we'd like to mention in this context is you have to have the highest level of integrity to meet the demand of what is necessary. I mean, you'll be put in situations where you have hard problems to solve, hard decisions to make, and you need to be willing to step up and say, this is how we're going to do it because it meets the integrity we have for the quality and the safety that's so important. So I know that sounds a bit serious, but it's just to say that in aerospace, there are challenges and you can rise to them. All right, Alex, back to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to quickly jump into the question. I'm seeing that a lot of questions have popped in. Murali, I
Yes.
think one of the questions that came very frequently, and I want to bridge that the question. Okay. So the question is how to bridge the gap between the opportunity and where they are today. So this is one of the questions that is being asked today. So I think we should address the elephant in the room.
Correct, correct. Yeah, and it's a right question actually. And from the academics, we learn a lot of things about the fundamental principles, the concepts and theories. But to put that into practice, to make use of the knowledge in the real world scenario, the best way to do things is get into some kind of projects. A lot of opportunities are there to attend some seminars. Also, there are so many events happening where there's a connect to the industry. Spend some time with the industry connects, learn what's going on, and see where we are today versus what is needed to be in the industry, and excel in the industry. And try identifying the gaps and meet them through
True.
courses. There are a lot of courses available. For example, if you want to become a really good designer, it might help taking a course on CATIA or NX, or if you want to become a good FEA engineer, there's a possibility you can actually get into taking trainings on FEA tools. There are quite a few opportunities to bridge that gap. The other thing is, very important thing, fundamental. Mentors do a wonderful thing in giving you a lot of guidance. In my early career, that's what really helped me. So I would say find a mentor, work with him, bridge the gap through a lot of discussions and learnings.
Alex, again, would you like to add anything, Alex, in this area? I think this is one of the questions asked most. I thought that from US angle, would you add some more to it?
Yes, certainly. Thank you. So Murali really covered that well. I mean, he said there's so much information available today that we all have access to because of the internet. There's so many ways you can continue your education and go deeper on topics that you don't know about. So he's absolutely right about that. And I couldn't agree more about having a mentor to help you shape your career. So one thing I'd like to add to that, especially early on in your career, the first maybe 5 years or so, and your student career as well, strive for a broader focus. We're always asked at these young ages, what do I want to specialize in, or what should my major be, or what should my minor be? But that's really not where the best place to start. When you're early in your career, if you learn more broadly, you're going to develop an understanding much more comprehensively of how the industry works, how the products work, how they are developed, how they're produced and supported. And that gives you two things. It helps you understand what you are interested in and good at. And then you're able to pick the things that you want to spend more time and go deeper on that way. Doing a broad education is such a great way to start. So start broad and then go narrow and specialize over time as you figure out what you're good at and you're interested in. And that may change over time as well. And the last thing, I just want to reemphasize one point that we talked about earlier. Satya brought it up about competencies. Behaviors that we bring as professionals is such an important piece to having a successful career and really accelerating it, which is what we're talking about today. It's not just technical skills, it's not just ability, it's not just knowledge, it's also behaviors. And if you spend time developing those and practicing those and working with a mentor, and you put kind of equal weightage, that's really going to help you navigate your professional career and your company very quickly compared to others who may not focus in a balanced way. So just keep that in mind, that you can really help yourself develop quickly.
So a follow-up question, I think there is one question being asked on systems engineering. A lot of questions were running in on systems engineering. So if someone can cover some more in detail on systems engineering, it would be great. And again, DO 254 or DO 178 expertise is required to switch in aerospace industry on electrical domain. This is one of the questions being asked. And anyone want to take on systems engineering opportunity, it would be great.
Yeah, I can take that first. Yeah, so DO 178 to 254, they're really useful specifications to start appreciating, how important it is to have the safety mindset and how to qualify software, how to integrate different hardware, and have that system integration testing done to the right specification. So these are very important specifications to learn and appreciate and get that certification done for the product. Definitely that's a must have quality and competency. And in addition, having the overall picture of what we are trying to do with systems. For example, there are so many systems with mechanical, hydraulics, electrical, embedded. The multiple things come together to make something happen. So obviously it's a multidimensional capability, multidimensional understanding of the functionality of the product. So in such cases, what helps is being part of a couple of CFT where these type of systems were developed in the past will really help. And also appreciating the new concepts on MBSE, which is going to be the new way of designing systems in the future. That'll really help. So a couple of things from my side.
So a follow-up question again. Yes, again.
Alex, one other thing, for systems engineering, typically what happens is the college curriculum may not support as much as they should in terms of understanding the systems. Maybe a few universities have those, but some of them don't. So for the benefit of those, there is a classic on systems that was written on focusing on aircrafts mainly. It's systems engineering by Moyer and Seabridge, I think, and that text is a classic. And even now, most of the industry veterans, they go back there just to see what has been covered and how does it do. Because what happens is systems engineering typically comes under each OEM has its own way of doing it by way of internal manuals and other things. We may or may not have access to those. But I would say that for young graduating engineers to understand more about the systems, this gives broad and a comprehensive picture on systems, which is a text by Moyer and Seabridge. And I think it's good to know what exactly do they cover. Just want to tell you that.
And there is one more question again. I think this has been asked multiple times. What are the opportunity that are available for fresher? And as a fresher, if I go for MOOC courses, would it add to my knowledge? So anyone want to take on it?
Yeah, MOOC courses, those are the courses that are offered online and other things. These are fantastic courses. And for example, the industry is looking for well-rounded engineers today. So while you get your foundations and everything from the text and the classical approach, to be a well-rounded engineer, if you're looking at maybe programming skills or quality-related courses or safety and reliability kind of courses, I mean, these are just, I mean, definitely they dovetail very much into your into becoming a well-rounded engineer, and I think there are a bunch of them. In fact, we ask our engineers as well to look at these some of these platform courses that are out there uh, to help them. So yeah, it is just all, it's all heading in the same direction, which is very much important for us to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, I do agree with that. The future belongs to range generalist rather than sticking to a single thing. You have to,
Exactly. Mono skill days are over. You need to be multi-skilled. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is one question again, multiple times. What are the opportunities in MRO? Do we have some ramp up in MRO and
Yeah.
any opportunity?
MRO, MRO, there is plenty of opportunity. At least in Quest Global, we do have a lot of opportunity. We do work with a couple of MRO players who are very well known in the industry, and there is a lot of focus on structures, both with in the design and in the analysis that includes static stress and fatigue. And of course, if like I talked about, most of these MROs also need some help in terms of working alongside an industrial skill where they can come in with some transformation or digital ideas. Which, if you're a good, computer engineer, and if you see that this is a space for you to be, working hand to hand with the digital and industrial, the customer is actually is desperate for these kind of skills. So I mean, like I said, it's industrial and digital going forward. So MRO is also a place which has been last to follow, but then they are quickly catching up in this space.
Okay. I think we are getting a lot of Q&A. I think we will try to address it one or the other way to you folks. We have so much Q&As that's going on. We'll try to address it each individually. Before we part the event on time, I want to take one key takeaway that I advise that as an expert in the industry and a veteran, what would you advise this young minds? What is the one thing that you want to advise to entire panelist?
You want me to start?
Yes, Satya.
Okay. Okay, sure. I would say I will give you two key takeaways. Number one, well-rounded engineers with the right behaviors. That's number one. And the second one is be systematic and thorough in your documentation, because this is very important. And a mindset. You need to give yourself enough time to learn without getting distracted. These three
Okay.
things are very key for me.
Thank you. Alex,
Alex?
your take, please.
Yes, thank you. Um, so one thing I'd take away from this is that you can actually teach yourself and develop your own career by having that good study of your own behaviors and balancing that out with technical knowledge and skills. And exactly like Satya said, taking the time to really learn things, get good at things, and keep moving. So really being active and intentional with how you spend your time educating yourself and furthering your career.
Okay. Murali, what would be your advice for aero engineers?
Yeah, so as aerospace is safety critical industry, and safety is the most important aspect of this industry. Having that safety mindset, attention to details. So these are the things, part of the career for anyone. As they say, for aerospace engineers, for everybody, sky is the limit. For aerospace engineers, that's the start point. So.
Okay.
I think outer space is the limit, actually.
Yeah. So I think we have came to near to the end of the session. So I want to give a closing note. Really, thanks for attending this session. I think hope you got some takeaway from this. We try to share as much information that we have, and this Ignite series is go. This is the first of the series. So you are going to have more episodes on more different areas, mainly focusing on the career aspect for the engineers trying to get placed in a job. We have our Quest Global Career page. I think close to 1,000 plus openings are there, and out of that, 100 recordings are there in our career page. Please do explore. It's careers.quest-global.com. And please follow our LinkedIn page so that you will get to know more that any of such similar events coming in. Please feel free to speak of any of the industrial veterans or the experts or even any engineer in our company. They will be glad to help you out, guide you out, maybe help you out with the skills and needs to meet the demands of the today. So I hope you had a wonderful session. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.